We have come together. We've come together as a community, as a kind of a family. And together we enter this awakening period dedicated to awakening for a season of midwinter in this first year of training here at the Monastic Academy for the preservation of life on Earth. It is extraordinary, it's miraculous that we have come together in this way. It's very fortunate for each of us, for all of us, and for all the world. This training is of benefit to us, benefit to each other, benefit to the world in ways that we can't imagine. And that's the difference between this training and the other sorts of things that human beings do. We're very good at deciding what should happen, imagining it, and then making it happen. That we're very good at. It's much more difficult for us to trust in something greater than our own minds. That doesn't happen so much. But awakening means awakening from our own minds. Awakening from the dreams that we've maintained for days, weeks, months, years, decades, perhaps lifetimes, perhaps even microseconds. For all of these different time frames, we do maintain patterns. We've gathered things along the way. Gathered things with our minds, gathered things with our bodies that we hold on to with our minds and we hold on to with our bodies. And we have the opportunity to purify our minds and our bodies of all of that accumulation. We've accumulated so much. We've taken in so much and we've held on to it so tightly that we're just rolling around, carrying all kinds of extraneous materials that weigh us down, make it hard for us to live in a vibrant, lively way. Of course, at the time when we picked all this up, it seemed to make sense. It seemed to make sense to do all that. It seemed to work somehow. And each of the things that we've picked up, we've gathered with us because for whatever reason, at the time we picked it up, we weren't able to experience it completely. Because we couldn't experience it completely, we didn't learn what there was to learn. Because we didn't learn what there was to learn, we thought, well, I better keep this. I better keep this around. Because at some point I'll be able to learn from it. So, good for us. We did a good job picking up a bunch of things. It's so smart of us, so clever of us, so good of us, to set aside some time to experience all that completely. Because, well, it's good to keep it around so that we can experience it completely someday. It's bad to keep it around because it sure is exhausting to carry all of this. Nowadays we have a lot of stuff. Modern people, we have so much stuff. We have 10, 100, sometimes 1,000 times as much stuff as we need. This is literally true. I'm not exaggerating how much extra stuff we have than we need. When we were nomadic, hunter-gatherers, which we all were. All of us come from that lineage. We didn't have so much stuff. Why? Because we had to keep moving. And if you had a lot of stuff, you couldn't keep moving very well. It was dangerous to have a lot of stuff. I've heard stories about Native American tribes written by people who were there watching it. Talk about a village in the plains, village of teepees, the Lakota say, who at sunrise gathered all their things together and set off, traveled, took their entire village, all their possessions, miles, follow the buffalo, and then set up camp again so that it was completely established by noon when they make lunch. You'd see them eat breakfast in this place, and then lunchtime they're just settled right in again, cooking, eating lunch, all that distance away. Well, we've made some choices, and we've become more domesticated. It's harder for us now to do that. And we around here, we also made a different choice. And so we bought this place, and it's hard to take it with us. It'll take more than a morning to carry this miles in any direction, even downhill. And take it down this hill, 100 feet, would take a long time. But there was another choice that came with that, and that was the clogging up, the filling up of our minds. We've also become stuck, fixated in our minds. And so for most of us, it isn't just hard for us to move our physical domestication. It's hard for us to move our mental domestication. It's hard for us to change how we see things, even a little bit, because we're carrying so much stuff around with us in our minds. So much stuff that we're weighted down by it, buried by it. And so certain negative patterns keep on cropping up, and we don't heal. We often talk around here about resting and healing. Well, what's the sort of rest that really allows us to heal? A lot of the time we think that means that we review our problems again and again. Well, that can help a little bit. It's a way of trying to experience that completely. But because it's still just happening in our minds, it isn't a complete experience. It's not really about that. It's about coming together as a community, coming together in love, coming together in order to help each other, and totally experiencing this moment without anything added on by our minds, without dragging anything into this. But whatever this moment is, we experience it completely, with absolute faith. Because that ultimately is what we train ourselves away from in our modern world. Back in the old days, we had a lot of faith. We had to. We didn't have insurance. We didn't have all these explanations of everything. Everything was mysterious. And I've lived in different cultures, and we live in a culture that has a hard time experiencing mystery, experiencing not understanding. You look at a tree and you ask someone, what is that tree? And they'll give you all kinds of explanations. Say, well, it's a very interesting plant, and it has roots, and it has a trunk, and it has branches, and it has xylem, and it has lignin. And lignin was actually a very important evolutionary development. It changed the entire climate of this planet. And on and on. Was that really the question? Was that really the question? Isn't it possible for us to look at a tree and wonder without going into all the material we've accumulated about it? Isn't it possible for us to see that tree as a totally unique phenomenon that we've never seen before? A tree unlike every other tree. That's changing even now. We'll never see that same tree again. Can't we appreciate that with a sense of wonder, rather than just coating it with explanations? We're here to clear out all of that extraneous material about what trees are and what we are. What we think, what we want, what we know, what we believe, what we have, what will become, what we should do, what we should have done. All of this, we clear it out. Forget all of it. It's by forgetting it that we experience it completely. It seems paradoxical, but, well, here's the mystery. It's not by holding on to it anymore. It's by letting it go. Now, letting it go doesn't mean getting rid of it. Letting it go means letting go of it. If you're getting rid of something, if you have this mallet and you want to get rid of it, you want to throw it out the door, the only way to do it is to pick it up. I'm saying let go of it. And then there it is. Not getting rid of it, you're letting go of it. Those are two different things. By letting go of it, it's allowed to be what it is, and it's allowed to stop being what it isn't. Each experience that comes up right now, we have faith in that. Not explaining it, not turning it into some kind of self-conscious awareness, but just like that tree, seeing it just as it is right now, and that's enough. Without also thinking, well, this ought to be what's happening, or this is really what's happening, or what if this happens? All of that mental, extraneous activity set aside, so that there's just this experience. Just this experience. And our assumptions and opinions and preferences about it don't need to control our perception of it. This ability to set everything aside and have this experience is the gift we're giving each other. This is love. The ability to have this experience completely, whatever it is, to have the faith in it that's needed, to have this experience just as it is. That's love, that's friendship. That's what we're giving each other. Supporting each other, yes, have this experience. Say, but I don't like this experience. Yes, have it. But I love this experience. Great, have it. Oh no, it's going away. Great, have that experience. Whatever it is, we believe, we trust, we have faith. We're not here just to support ourselves and each other and coming up with lots of opinions and reiterating things again and again and staying stuck in our views. As Harada Roshi says, people have a lot of trouble loving nowadays. He says for most people, love just means sitting around licking our wounds together. That's what love is. We'll lick our wounds together. Oh, this is so hard for me. Oh, is that so hard for you? Instead of that, we have this experience completely. And we trust that whatever this experience is, this is exactly the experience that needs to be experienced completely, with absolute faith. This changes our lives. Absolute faith in this experience. So that the resistance, the hesitation, the reservation, the cringing, the sense, no, 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 all of that released so that this experience can manifest completely. We come together as friends, but ultimately we're here for the benefit of all living things. And how does this benefit all living things? Because this, what I'm describing, the willingness to have this experience just as it is, the willingness to let the person who we have produced, who we've built up out of the extraneous material that we've gathered, that person who we think I am, that person me, that person myself, that we've built up with the accretion of a long time of experience, to let that person go, to let that person die. And that experience, to have this experience completely, and in so doing, let ourselves die. Let the person who keeps on coming into this experience, let that person go. That is what human beings are unwilling to do. Human activity is fundamentally the constant attempt to not die. And by die, I mean let go. Trust, have faith. Stop dragging in extraneous material. That's just a support for the person we think we are. But the willingness to have this experience completely, and in so doing, me, the person who has been wounded, is lost. That's what we're not willing to do. Because we're not willing to do it, others have to die instead. This planet destroyed so that we can avoid what is to be experienced. We come here to save the world. And in saving the world, we save ourselves. How? By letting ourselves die. By letting ourselves go. How? By, rather than carrying all of these extraneous ideas in to this moment, we have this experience completely, with absolute faith. People who are willing to do that are walking the path that is not in conflict with any living thing. And that's the gift we give. So let us give that gift as a community to this vast community of all living things.